Our opinions aren't too tough, rough, or gruff. We are proof that you don't have to be an expert to have an opinion. So just
Shut up and sit down.
This is Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff. This is Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff, plus them homies.
Them homies. What's up?
That's us.
That is.
Hey.
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 I don't know. She wasn't part of the homies last week, so is she an honorary homie or part of the homies?
She's a guest homie.
I'm always a homie.
Oh, you're a guest homie.
I was very busy last week working, okay?
This is why you can't be an all-the-time homie. This is Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff, and today is Monday, March 13th, and the madness is upon us. Get excited. Get excited for a fun week with the Sports Stuff Jim and Muff Enterprise that will also include a special betting episode for the men's tournament, unless Jim also decides he wants to bet on women's games. James?
Yes.
Is that a no? Is that a yes, Jim? What are you doing?
It seems like a no, maybe. I don't.
Technical difficulties. Hold on.
Okay. Jim's having technical difficulties, and while we're getting through that, you can join in on the fun on ESPN with our tournament challenges. You can connect with us on this tournament challenge through the link in our bio on Instagram and Twitter. You can also catch it on Facebook. We've posted on Sunday multiple messages to make sure you can get in on the fun. You just have to set up an ESPN account, register with our group, and you can get in on the fun. Free entry, free prizes. There's nothing not to like about free, and more free.
I agree with
I'm
free.
totally in. I like free.
Everybody loves free.
All right, loyal listener club. This is Nate. Happy New Year. Make sure you all subscribe to the YouTube channel to get us to 100 subscribers so Sam can craft some stuff and get off my ass.
In today's episode, we will get into the offseason.
The offseason.
A little bit more exciting, I think, this week than some other weeks. And only to get more exciting, I think, over the next 2 or 3 weeks as we get into the lead up to the draft. But before we get into the offseason, update on the Pittsburgh Penguins, Alex.
The Pittsburgh Hockey Penguins had a pretty good week since we left them last. They're 34, 22, and 10, fourth in the Metro with 78 points, currently first in the Eastern Wildcard after winning a must-win over their rival Philadelphia Flyers 5-1 yesterday afternoon and having a 3-2 overtime win on Sunday versus third place New York Rangers. Sorry, Kate.
But not sorry.
Not really sorry at all. Jim, what about your teams? Penn's doing well.
Columbus sucks. The Vegas Knights are at the top. The Kraken are starting to slip.
Did we talk about the Columbus Penguins game? That was this week, right?
That was this week. We haven't talked.
I lose track of so they started off beating the Penguins 4-1, and then the Penguins came back and won.
Yeah, but the Kraken are the real cause for concern. They lost 2 games since we last spoke, and they did not pick up a win. So the gap on the LA Kings is starting to increase. So the Kraken need to get their heads out their asses.
Are you allowed to talk about Columbus anymore? I feel like stricken from the record now. You denounced your
That's
fandom.
true. But I didn't know if you were going to call me out if I didn't speak on it.
I am calling you out for speaking on them.
All right, so now I know. Now I know the rules. Okay.
Just don't talk. You denounced your fandom. That would be like, me. I haven't denounced fandom. I've somehow stuck on with the Pirates, but
But do I have a journalistic duty to deliver Columbus news?
As the Ohio homer, but not when you denounce your fandom for a team.
Okay.
I feel like that takes your integrity is still intact because you've said I don't like them anymore. Now, if you pick them back up, then we get to harass you relentlessly.
Right. All right.
Fair?
Fine. That'll be the last report on that team
From you.
from me.
Right. From you. Pirates in spring training.
That's the only time you guys will have a winning record, right?
It's 4-10.
Yeah, don't get
No,
it twisted.
the main team right now is 4-10.
But it doesn't count. So
No, they got beat today like 11-2 by the Braves.
Yeah. What happened in the spring training game involving the Pirates, Alex?
In a spring training game involving the Pirates?
No, I actually added this note here because we had nothing with Pirates, but I believe I said in the group, and this just blew my freaking mind. So the San Diego Padres played a catching prospect by the name of Ethan Salas in a game the other day. And you might say, Nate, who gives a shit? Well, this dude is 16 years old.
And then, wait, so Nate followed that with, he sent us that and said, what were we doing at 16 years old? And I was like, I'm pretty sure I was drinking cheap tequila and accidentally jumped in a pool with my clothes on.
Accidentally quotes.
Yeah, I can't swim very well, so it wasn't a good choice. But that's what happened. And then I passed out in the back of my friend's van. That's why I was doing at 16.
Meanwhile, I'm just getting my driver's license, sophomore year of high school, and no, this guy's out there in spring freaking training.
Good for him. That's all I got to say. Good for him.
Yeah.
In some Ohio Valley hometown news, West Liberty University wrestler Ty McGeary wins the Division II National Championship at 184 pounds.
I feel like that's a popular weight range. I say this because I feel like and tell me if I'm wrong, I don't know much about wrestling. Jim might know. So in the super lightweights, in the super heavyweights, I feel like the competition, there's less people that meet those things. But I feel like that middle chunk of weights in wrestling, there's probably more competition.
They're more natural weights, we'll say.
Yeah.
Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah.
I mean, how many 19 to 24-year-olds do you know walking around at 122?
But that's my point.
Your competition sits at about 160 to the heavyweight.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So this guy won at 184. So
yeah, he's a real deal.
To me that's a real deal wrestling class. And I'm not putting down people that weigh less. I mean, you're wrestling still against the best of the best. It just to me, I don't know.
Well, and you would like to think that he typically walks around when the summer comes, if he's not doing anything else, which this guy probably is. When the summer comes, he's walking around at 215.
Wow.
And he's cutting down. You would like to think.
That's wild.
If you're doing it the right way.
I don't know. Is that the right way? To have to cut
I'm sorry, if you're doing it the old way.
If you're just walking around extra heavy 30 pounds in the summer.
Yeah, if you're doing it the old way. The new way is you're cutting up.
Hopefully he's John Bones Jones in his career now, not John Bones Jones in his career 10 years ago.
Right.
Got other problems there. West Liberty did have two other wrestlers make it to the semifinals before they both lost. Did not make it to the national championship bouts. I don't remember what they ended up in the team standings, but last I looked, they were 4th or 5th. I do not know if that held true at the end, though.
I will tell you that from the high school level, and it's catching on because of Penn State. The team wrestling, and when I was growing up, was very much individualistic, and this whole team concept is a thing. It is a thing, and West Liberty is a great example of that. It's a whole team consensus that kicked ass all year as a team throughout the weight classes, and they go to West Liberty. The D2 wrestlers are going to West Liberty because of the team atmosphere. Yeah. Penn State at the D1 level. I mean, there's high schools right now in the Valley that are top-notch schools Barnesville.
For a brand new one. Let's see.
What is that?
I think that was me on accident. I was looking. I was trying to look up.
You keep interrupting me. Let's make it you. Barnesville High School in the Ohio Valley had 7 or 9 placers at state today.
One of them was state champ.
What's that?
Barnesville had one state champ I saw on Twitter.
Yeah.
Too.
Yep, and a bunch of placers. So this whole team concept is new to me, but it's awesome.
I was trying to. West Liberty finished 6th.
Okay.
That's what I was trying to look up, and then an ad started playing, and then it froze up, and I couldn't get off.
Hey, the show is your show, buddy. You just keep. It's all about you. It's
just
Alex and the homies.
Here we go.
Speaking of other West Liberty news, the West Liberty University men's basketball team advances to the Sweet 16, the Division II tournament, after taking down UPJ and Mercyhurst over this past weekend. And they will be taking on the winner of the IUP Virginia Union game in Tuesday's regional final for the chance to advance to the Elite Eight in Evansville, Indiana.
What does MFF mean?
In relation to
Wrestling.
I think it's like major something.
So like
there may have been a forfeit in there, Jim.
So Devin Flannery. Oh no, hold on, let me find.
It's forfeit.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Who was that over, Alex?
Christian Magia, something from McKendree, won by MFF over Colea.
Colea. I actually watched his semifinal match, and at the end, he got put into a bad spot. Somehow stayed off of his back and didn't get pinned, but it looked like his shoulder took the brunt of some pain in that one because he did not come off the mat very well.
Gotcha.
Yeah. That was a semifinal bout, and then he ended up in 6, and he's a 2-time defending champion at 125. So I assumed that he did not wrestle or didn't care, and it would appear that he did not wrestle. So
now, where's Crutchfield at? What team is his?
Nova Southeast.
Bingo.
So if West Lib wins, they're going to see Crutchy in the 4.
Well, it depends because once you get to the Elite Eight, they reseed.
Yeah.
Oh.
So nobody knows.
Crutchfield's team is currently the number 1 overall seed in the country, and they're undefeated.
Right. It would be not likely for them to see them in the first round because West Liberty was ranked 5, I believe, in the nation in the regional tournament. So I wouldn't expect them to be lower than a 6 seed if they reseed.
So, like, I know that we're Ohio Valley. I get it. But, like, I'm in Columbus, Muff's in Pennsylvania. You guys are in West Virginia. The great secret, if you will, Jim Crutchfield. Like, he's the D2 secret.
Yes.
He's the cheat code.
But, like, this man needs national attention.
I know there was a whole story about one of the NBA coaches calling him.
But I know there's Ohio Valley, like, podcasts that talk about him, but, like, why is this man not on, like, a 30 for 30?
Because it's still Division II.
But damn.
I mean, it's just being honest, like, it's still Division II. But
so what if
he has like a coaching tree that is pretty good right now.
And what if he runs the table? Like, what if he goes undefeated the whole way out? Do you think he then lands on ESPN? Has that been done?
That's a good question. I'm going to say in basketball, probably not.
Yeah.
Undefeated for what?
An undefeated season and national title.
Like a whole season into the national title.
Right.
Because they're undefeated.
Basketball, probably not.
Hold, please.
Has it ever happened in basketball? At Division II or ever? Ever, yes.
I would say ever, but like
UCLA. Multiple times, if I remember correctly.
In the modern era, in our world?
I mean, it was John Wooden days, but I'm pretty sure they did it.
I just think in the age of social media and people coming and going, especially D2,
North Carolina Tar Heels.
Yeah, but that's North Carolina. That's what I'm saying. Like, you got a good player. He spends a year in D2. He makes a jump. Like, it's hard to keep a program together and great.
I would argue it's easier to do that at the D2 level than the D1 level now.
Okay, why?
Because the one and done.
Sure. Okay, but all right. Fair enough.
D2, I mean, D2, they're usually more locked in. Now there are players that make the jump to D1 after time in D2 and back and forth here and there, but I would say it's harder to hold on to a great player at the Division I level than its Division II level.
Okay, I agree with that. I mistake.
It's not a mistake. It just is what it is. All right, are we done with hometown discussions, gents?
Yeah.
For now.
That brings us into
The offseason.
That was a little bit less exciting than last week, which is interesting because a good bit has happened this week.
There's so much energy a guy can give. Like, I'm trying to temper it. We got a long road to hoe. You know what I mean?
That's fair. We're gonna just get into it. I'm not sure there's a rhyme or reason to some of this, but I'm not sure if we're gonna hit all of the most interesting topics first, but we'll get there. First off, in the offseason this week, the Bears trade away the number 1 overall pick to the Panthers for DJ Moore and 4 draft picks. Do we think that the Bears got enough for the number 1 pick this year?
I think it comes down to who those draft picks are position wise. Like, if they load up 4 offensive linemen or 3 offensive linemen and another receiver, okay. But if they take a kicker, you know what I mean? Or all 4 of these picks go to the defensive side of the ball, it's all on them. It's theirs to lose, I guess is my point.
Now, what are the 4 draft picks? They aren't all this year, correct?
No.
I think 3 of them, or how many draft picks was there? 4?
Yeah.
4 total, yeah.
I think 2 of them were this year. They swapped 1 and 9.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think they also got something in the late second round, like 60 something.
Mm-hmm.
And then I want to say a first round next year.
Okay. And then some other like second or third round with it, just a toss-in pick.
I knew there were 2. I knew they swapped 1 and 9, and then they got the second round pick, like number 60 something. And then I think a future one.
All right. Do we think this is enough? Did they get enough value out of this?
Yeah, I think so. For who they are.
It all depends on, like Jim said, who do they get with these picks? I mean, it's not going to be something so easy. Oh, well, they end up drafting so-and-so. You got to see if so-and-so is going to be a bust or not.
Especially in this draft class.
Right. I understand that we can't know for sure until, really 4 or 5 years from now. I'm just saying, just face value. Do we think they got enough value for what they gave up?
Yes.
Quite literally,
yeah,
the overall pick this year is most likely to be a quarterback. Like
that's in this draft class, and
that's
who
what you're
they
tossing
are.
Aside.
I think yes, absolutely. I think this was the best move they could make.
Well, and I also saw too. They said don't be surprised that the Panthers are also trying to shop the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, and that was where I was going to shift next. That's the more interesting story is if the Panthers trade out of their own number 1 pick, do they look like idiots or do they look like mad scientists? Because that's really the storyline there.
I think you look like idiots. Why do you trade up to 1 and then immediately trade out of it?
We all thought Kevin Costner was super genius when he did it in draft day.
I mean, what if they get a bunch of stuff out of that trading the 1?
Well, because if they got to think, okay, we gave this to Chicago, now what do they think they're going to get in return?
What if they traded to the Packers for a bunch of stuff and Aaron Rodgers?
I don't know if the Packers are looking for a number 1 pick. I think they've kind of, which we'll get to here in a second.
I understand that. I understand they're not looking for it. I'm saying if they did, if they traded the number 1 pick for Aaron Rodgers and 4 picks of their own, do they look like idiots at that point?
Maybe not. But again,
that's my point.
But I don't think it's going to happen because how often do you see teams anymore trade within the conference?
Sure, and I agree with you. I'm just saying they have a possibility to not look like idiots if they trade out and it looks like gold.
Yeah, if they're going to trade for the number 1 pick and then immediately trade it, you better get some real trade value back if you're going to go on and then get rid of it.
Is there someone out there, I guess, that first pick would be more valuable than the Panthers?
It's really anybody that may be looking for a quarterback right now, right? That's who you're shopping it to. So you've got Atlanta. Who else may be looking right now?
Green Bay.
Green Bay's not looking for a quarterback, Jim. We'll get
there. They just said they're getting rid of Aaron Rodgers.
We're getting there.
Let's remember who they've been holding on to, Jim. Don't get the cart before the horse here.
The Buccaneers.
There are other teams before.
Bucs had no money to give.
That's true.
Well, the Bucs have their next quarterback. That's for later too. Not have, but
have their eye on.
Yes. I'm so interested to hear that. Also, Jim, my question for you. You think that the Bears made a good move here, correct?
I think it's not a bad move for where they were at.
Do you think that's because the first pick is probably going to be a quarterback? Is this a Justin Fields homer take?
I think that given the draft class of quarterbacks that they have, because I mean, they could easily pick up any of those quarterbacks. CJ Stroud is included. You know what I mean? So it's not necessarily a homer
That's
pick.
true.
I think that Justin Fields has more immediate upside year 2 or whatever year he's on than any of those quarterbacks year 1.
Okay.
I mean, this just means they've locked
fair.
themselves into Justin Fields for at least the next 2 years. Like
Yeah.
they're just, which is fine given his performance last year.
Yeah, I don't think it's a terrible take. I don't think he played poorly.
Yeah. Is part of everything that's going on over the last week, 2 weeks, and what will happen for the next week or two.
I'm sorry. What if that pick next year that they got is Marvin Harrison Jr. or a receiver like of that caliber? You know what I mean? Then they look like freaking geniuses.
Well, only if they pan out in the NFL, as we've talked about. There's no guarantees.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's your thing about the draft picks, I know. But like they could look like rock stars if they pick up the stud receiver next year. And there's stud receivers coming behind. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. There's opportunity for sure.
Yeah.
Last week, in the next week or two, I believe. Actually, I think it's just the rest of this week. All the teams have to come in under the salary cap, which I think is like $224 million, which means many times that you have some of these cuts, which included this past week, the Vikings releasing Adam Thielen after 10 whole years in Minnesota. So this is not abnormal this week. Or this time period, right? Because you got to find a way to cut salaries. Usually there are veterans that either rework their deals or end up getting cut. So it's unfortunate for Adam Thielen, but there is potential opportunity waiting for him elsewhere.
I think whoever gets him is getting a steal.
I have a hard time with this cut.
Why?
And I know the Vikings ranked very high on the list of places to be, but I would think they would have treated him a little better. We reworked a deal somehow, kept him there, done something. I just don't like them cutting him.
Would you be willing, if you're him, to take less money to stay? I mean,
I think I would have if I was him.
I mean, I think his background, I would have wanted to stay if I were him. I mean, if I remember correctly, he was a D2 or D3 guy from like Minnesota State or something. So I think he walked on there. So he is from that area, probably the team he always wanted to play for. So I feel like he would take a pay cut to stick around.
Yeah.
I think it's just the reality of the situation in Minnesota, right? Justin Jefferson's there. KJ Osborne's there. I think they're just looking to make a salary cut. And again, that's what this is, all said and done. So unfortunate.
Yeah, they did already cut 2 other guys in the defense. They cut Eric Kendricks, who was there for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw they just cut one of their starting corners, I think. And then they might look into cutting another cap casualty is that safety Harrison Smith.
Zadarius Smith? Was he part of there?
Harrison,
okay.
They might cut him too, but I mean, I saw Harrison Smith.
Yeah. So looks like the Vikings just trying to get it taken care of. In the news of the week, if you look at our Twitter account, Aaron Rodgers is considering whether or not he may be joining the New York Jets. He is considering whether or not he will retire. There's a lot going on in the Aaron Rodgers camp, which we all know is a very small and tight-knit camp. But there have been a lot of little nuggets throughout the week that have led to the many believing at this point that Aaron Rodgers is going to end up in New York, including New York cutting salaries to get about to the number they would need for the salary cap hit this year from Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers taking, obviously visiting with the Jets front office, and the Packers owner coming out and not speaking to what will be happening with Aaron Rodgers from this point forward. So a lot going on there. Jets Homer, Jets fan, Scott, seems to be very excited about this, and whoever runs our Twitter account seems to be poking at me with this as well.
Yeah, it's wild. So, like, does he make 1 year run at New York and then goes to the Vikings the next year and then gets into the embezzling scandal after doing Some Wrangler jeans ads. Is that how Aaron's career
Cop-
trajectory is going to go?
Don't forget about the Coppertone in there or whatever. The
Yeah.
Tommy Copper.
Yeah. Does an inappropriate thing with a sideline reporter.
Don't think that's Aaron Rodgers' path, but more interesting things have happened, and then sue Pat McAfee. But we all are never sure where things will end up. But it does appear that Aaron Rodgers will be headed to New York immediately. What does this mean for New York if this goes down?
An 0-8 or 0-17 season?
I think that's unlikely.
Well, how did Favre do there? Let's take a look. He won some games there.
I conjecture that within 3 years, the Jets could be
oh my god
in the Super Bowl.
You're an asshat.
Do you?
I didn't have to stretch.
Okay, let's think about the New York Jets situation here. Do they not have one of the best defenses already in the league?
I'm not going into this with you.
I could see them making a run at maybe a wild card, but you're still in the same division as the Dolphins and as the Bills. So I don't even know if they would win their own division.
You have to win your division to be in the Super Bowl.
No, I mean, I don't see them. If he goes there, they're not going to make a run at the Super Bowl right away.
I feel
like if Rodgers is going there, it would have to be a 2 or 3 year thing. You can't go and expect him to win right now.
I said 3 years.
They're still a very young team, so I don't know. I just don't see the Jets roster right now. I mean, even the success they did have last year with their quarterback carousel, it would be a work in progress still.
Let's just give him 3 years. That's all I'm saying. Put me on record.
Can I bet you? Can I have a long-term bet here?
Do you want a long-term bet me after your bet with Cam Newton?
I want a long-term bet, $100.
Oh,
I still think you owe me for Cam Newton.
I paid you $1.
I feel like it was more than $1, but
how much?
I have no idea what it was. There was a bet. I don't think it was $1. But
I want a long-term bet you $100.
That what?
That the Jets will not be in the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers.
Will not be in the Super Bowl?
Will not be in the Super Bowl.
With Aaron Rodgers.
With Aaron Rodgers.
I bet you $5.
On.
All right, mark it down.
Market 5, dude.
Mark it
for the next 3 years.
Sam, you're in charge of that bet.
And this is all assuming that Aaron Rodgers goes to the Jets.
Yeah.
It's only fitting. He is currently wearing New York Jet green.
If he does not go to the Jets, all bets are off.
Okay.
Right.
There's my next question. If he does not go to the Jets, does that count as a loss for the no Super Bowl party?
No,
it's just a draw.
Super Bowl. Okay.
It's a void bet.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Getting into other quarterback discussion, Lamar Jackson gets put make sure I say this correct, the non-exclusive franchise tag correct?
Mm-hmm.
Which brings up, this is the typical franchise tag. So this should not be confused. This is normal. It's that people usually don't get into the details of what is possible when this franchise tag option comes up.
I feel like that's because usually we'll use the franchise tag for people we plan to keep around.
Or that nobody wants to give up potential big picks as well as big players and or dollars. So the non-exclusive franchise tag, and anybody can correct me if they feel I'm wrong on this, to even get into discussion about if you can engage in an offer, a tender offer to that person on the non-exclusive franchise tag, means you have to give up 2 number 1 picks over the next 2 years. That's before you can even offer a possible salary option for that quarterback. Is that correct? For what everybody else has heard.
I thought from what I read that that's what it would take to give up. But if they're going to offer him to a new contract, that the Ravens would have the option to match. And if they don't, then they have to give up those draft picks.
Right. And there's a lot of other options. That's like that's what's in the writing of how you can do it. If they offer, then the Ravens can match or come over top of that. There's also the possibility in backdoor dealings where there could be like a sign and trade situation. Mm-hmm. Right. The Ravens sign him to whatever it is, and then the team that's assigned then trade, and then they trade the picks or whatever they do. So that's just to engage in the salary discussion with Lamar Jackson. But there can be a straight up trade if a team wants to get involved with it. So there's a lot of things that could be happening here. There's also been a lot of noise about what people think this means about the value that the NFL, the Ravens, and others may be putting on Lamar Jackson, because quickly after the discussion came up of the franchise tag, all of the teams that were rumored to be looking for a quarterback said, no, we're not going to engage. No, we're not going to engage. No, we're not going to engage. Like Atlanta was one of them. What are some other teams? Oakland looking for a quarterback. Yeah.
Houston.
Houston, all of them said, no, we're not going to get involved in this, which would lead you to believe, at least at face value, that nobody wants to have the discussion about giving up picks or engaging in the salary discussion, which questions the value that other teams put on Lamar Jackson as a former NFL MVP, and some would say a star of the league, a top 5 quarterback for sure. But I think there's a lot of questions now about what does this say about the owners, general managers, and the teams within the NFL? Are they colluding against Lamar Jackson, or are there other things at play? Thoughts?
I think they just want to, not like we said before with like Deshaun Watson last year. They don't want to have to like reset the QB market and give him all this guaranteed money, especially when he's coming off a year that he couldn't even finish out the year.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it
Colluding.
Yeah, yes.
I don't like him either.
You don't like Lamar Jackson?
Nope.
Why?
Okay.
He didn't finish out the year. Like, I thought that was some chicken shit. I think he overplayed his hand. I think this whole managing himself thing is not in his best interest. I think that was a piss poor move.
And
You
there
think
is,
he's having a financial crisis on the back end and he can't afford someone to represent him? I just want to start a drama thing.
that's a very dramatic statement, and I'm going to say no.
I'm just
I
gonna
don't think it's outside the realm of possibility.
he's just young, you know. Did you get a ton of money off the bat? You know, have you ever heard of that? Like when people like a star athlete gets all this money, spends it all, and then gets hurt, and then they're poor.
I don't know that's outside possibility, but I think that he's playing checkers while others are playing chess.
Yeah, it's just a weird situation all around. Like I don't know what to think of it. I don't know if he thinks he's smarter than he is, and he's like, I'm so smart, I can do better than everyone else at managing myself.
I saw it was a placed stat line. It was a comparative stat line. The numbers between Kirk Cousins, Lamar Jackson over the last like 2 or 3 years, Kirk Cousins is significantly better overall, but that doesn't include the fact that Lamar Jackson has not played full seasons each year either, which I thought was a little misleading when I saw the stat, but there was that stat that I saw out there.
Yeah. Plus, Kirk Cousins has turned Justin Jefferson over the last year.
Right. It's totally different offenses, totally different like skill sets and moving around. It was looking at like total touchdowns as well, which, you know, was the stat. But it'll be interesting to see where all this ends up. If there are teams that are trying to do this end around in this dealing, so they, you know, don't have to give up 2 number ones to engage, and how I think this is going to come down to how much do these teams that don't have a franchise quarterback really want a quarterback that could be their franchise quarterback.
I don't think he's a franchise quarterback.
Sure. I've said that I just don't know about Lamar Jackson, right? He's obviously a former MVP, which is what a lot you hear about. Oh, a former MVP, how come they don't want to pay him? Well, it's a former MVP, as Jim put to, that hasn't necessarily finished out the last 2 seasons. So, you know, there is a risk associated with that. Nobody wants to pay the Deshaun Watson money for somebody who can't finish a season.
Like right now, if you had, I know this is a horrible comparison because he's in the Super Bowl, but if you had Jalen Hurt, or this guy, who are you going to take?
I mean, I would probably take Jalen Hurts. I mean, looking at them side by side, they kind of play the same game. They're both mobile quarterbacks, but Jalen stays on the field.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw that drop off with the Ravens, which I mean, he can use and say, look, you don't got anybody better than me, so pay me now. But I mean, that's the thing. I see like all these college guys come in and get so greedy with money. It's like, yeah, you get all this money, but you play for a shit team.
And who's his backup?
Huntley,
Is Huntley still there though?
I do not know.
I don't know if he made it through the cap situation. I really don't. There's a lot to be figured out outside of, right. The Ravens have him right now. Now I think he could theoretically not play, not show up.
And plus the Ravens got a new OC coming in this year.
I think
True,
as of
guy
right
from
now,
Georgia, right?
he's still with.
Yeah.
As of right now, I think he is still with the Ravens.
Oh, he is. He's tagged.
No,
Tyler
Huntley.
Huntley.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Because Tyler Huntley's a very serviceable backup. He was in the Pro Bowl.
Well, I don't know if we want to get into that, Alex.
I know. But what I'm saying is he's very serviceable.
He can do the job.
Very similar style.
Yeah, how much of a step back are you taking at this point? What I've seen from Lamar Jackson to Tyler Huntley,
Not much.
it's arguable.
All right. In Tampa Bay, the Buccaneers are possibly looking into making Baker Mayfield their starting quarterback. Nate, what do you think about this, given the fact that they picked up Kyle Trask in the draft last year, and Mayfield over the past year or two, his stats and what he has done as a starter?
I wouldn't touch Mayfield with a 10-foot pole. I mean, his play.
Rams.
I mean, he did okay with the Rams, but
That was playing backyard football.
Right, and he was in a no pressure situation. Like the Rams sucked last year. He basically was thrown in there by default. It's like, all right, Baker, just go play some quarterback, no pressure to win or anything. I mean, Tampa still got a solid nucleus of players there. They just created $44 million in cap space to hopefully sign somebody, but I don't know.
Baker.
No.
Not for 44.
And not Jameis either.
Not Jameis.
So, I mean, I also don't know what's going on with Blaine Gabbert, who's been their backup for the past couple of years, if he's going to be back with the team. But I think it said that Trask was the only quarterback under contract next year. But, I mean, they traded up and took him in the second round, so you got to see what you got. He's only been playing in preseason games and some junk time here and there. But
I was going to say, I don't even remember seeing him all last year.
No, it's because he never dressed. And when he did dress, like I said, it was either preseason or towards the end of the season. I think the last game of the regular season, he played a little bit in Atlanta in week 18. But, I mean, you got to put him out there and see what you got, especially if you're going to waste a second-round pick on him. You don't want to just put a second-round pick on him and never put him in the game and just write him off.
No, I agree. You have to give him the chance, let him lose it himself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're going to have to bring in somebody because, like I said, I think he's the only quarterback under contract right now. It's not Baker, not Jameis.
One way to get the job.
Gonna get Lamar. In a couple moves that have happened as far as extensions and players are going to stay with their teams, the Bills signed a contract extension through 2026 for linebacker Matt Milano, who was a Pro Bowler and All-Pro last year. And the Panthers agreed to a 2-year contract with linebacker Shaq Thompson after it appeared he may be a cut in order to clear up cap space. So
yeah, they look like they were going to cut him. And then I guess they brought in their new defensive coordinator. He's like, no, we like him. I was like, oh, that's a good sign. Maybe they'll get along really well. We kept him around.
Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill ran the 60-meter dash.
He is that dude.
In the USA Track and Field Indoor Masters Championships and won with a 6.70 second time, which the time, good, right? But if you actually watch the video,
he won by like 30 yards.
That's a bit of an exaggeration, I think, Alex.
But
he won by a large margin. It was his first time competing in track since he was at Oklahoma State, and he wore a speed suit from his high school alma mater, which was Coffee High School. He was 0.36 seconds behind the world record holder, Christian Coleman, which in a 60-meter dash is an eternity, if you ask me. And then he said he's never racing again because it had him out there looking wild.
That was his tweet after he is. I'm never racing again, out there looking wild. I was cracking up. So like that was what kind of triggered me to like want to really see the video. I was like, I mean, I don't know. I would have looked a lot more wild. Man,
I couldn't imagine getting ready for this race, and you're probably one of the top two guys out there, And then what do you do? And in walks in Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. And you're
It's-
like, oh, we're done now.
I saw some tweet afterwards because I was just interested. I was like, okay, what does this actually compare to? Like, I understand he was at a legitimate event, but then I saw something later that was like, there's 200-ish college sprinters that have performed better this year, and like 40 high schoolers that have run a better time. That being said, he does not train for this all year.
No. So the I looked up what the qualifications are for this. Like, who is he racing against?
Mhm.
Basically, his age group was 25 to 29. It's anyone who wants to enter from any skill level. It's called Masters. I think they do one for swimming too, if I'm not mistaken. So anyone over 25 who thinks they can race can do it. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to sign up for it and get to that level, but if you're in college, you're probably not like you said, all these great college racers are probably not focused on that and participating.
Right. So just it's just cool to see him do it. I'm not going to say it was not cool. And he got his 6 seconds of fame, and nobody can take it away that he beat everybody by, as Alex would say, 30 yards.
I think no, it wasn't by 30. It's probably 20 though. Part of me says you're stupid, dude, for doing this. Could you imagine if he would have like blew out something like, I don't know, twist your ankle?
I feel like he had to have permission.
That's what I'm saying. I'm surprised.
Yeah, why do I feel like now there's going to be a contract clause that says I will not race in the offseason?
Like, I will not play too much Call of Duty during the. No, I'm serious, because you think about like these kids once they sign for college, and then like you get into your conference all-star game and they won't let them play because of the risk of getting hurt, and like we're gonna give you scholarship money. I mean, to me, it's kind of similar being like, hey, I'm gonna go run this race that means not very much in the grand scheme of things for me. I don't know. It's risky.
We will see. Another wide receiver news: Odell Beckham Jr. held a workout in Arizona for multiple teams, and there was some hubbub that he looked pretty good. But again, this is a self-designed workout. So, do we think that OBJ is going to end up somewhere for a competitor this year? Or is he just going to potentially take what he gets?
I don't think OBJ is a bad wide receiver. He's just a head case.
He's not going to just go anywhere. He's going to go somewhere in ring chase.
Yeah. Right. He'll end up in Kansas City somehow.
Yeah.
That's how it's going to happen.
Hey, if you can do it, do it.
Him and Adam
be in New York.
Huh?
According to you, if Rodgers goes to New York, he should go to New York.
Why?
Because you did say he was going to get a ring in the next 3 years.
Right. OBJ is only looking for a 1-year contract.
Maybe he thinks Rodgers and OBJ meet up in.
Listen. Adam Thielen is who I'm earmarking to go to New York if Rodgers goes there.
So you're saying Rodgers is going to get it done year one?
I said within 3 years. If it happens year one, I've become $5 richer from you, Jim.
Do you think it'll happen in year one?
I said within 3 years.
So okay, not year one.
Didn't say that it couldn't. I just said that I'm giving myself 3 years.
So should OBJ go to the Jets this year?
No, I do not think OBJ is good for the New York team. He's already been in New York. I think he's looking for a.
But if he wanted a ring, should he go to New York Jets?
No.
Within 3 years, if he wants to sign a 3-year deal, then yes.
But if he wanted to sign a 1-year deal, should he go to the Jets?
Nope. Can.
But should he?
That's between him, his agent, and the New York Jets front
I think
office.
he's going to end up in Cincinnati.
Carry on, Muff.
Fair enough. Brock Purdy has his UCL, I believe, surgery. It was successful. Could begin throwing in 3 months. I believe the recovery time is typically 6 months for this.
Yeah, I think throwing. They didn't really detail what throwing meant, but I would guess just like tossing it around.
Yeah, and this was the less serious of the procedures that could have been done, if I remember correctly. So hopefully Brock Purdy recovers well and can go out there and sling that rock next year. Alex, go ahead, do your Geno Smith thing.
Oh, Geno Smith comes out like the true competitor he is. He says he's completely okay with Seattle drafting a quarterback because he is ready to compete with anybody. I just thought I'd throw out there the comment of a winner.
What else is he supposed to say?
Did the Green Bay quarterbacks handle it so well when there was drafting of other quarterbacks? No. Gino handles himself appropriately.
Who didn't handle it well?
I feel like there's been so much Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love drama. I'm just saying.
Did Aaron Rodgers say any of that?
I just could tell.
No, he threw a pissy fit and locked himself in a dark room.
That was not. That was
I
after
don't
this
have
year,
that
Jim.
Jordan Love.
Jordan Love was drafted years ago.
I'm just saying that
How long
Gino
has he been doing the dark room thing?
probably a long time, to be
Thank
honest.
you.
It's the
I feel
first
like
year.
Since
Anyway.
Jordan came to town.
Honestly, am a little worried that that's some kind of like hangover from his childhood, but I was gonna let that go.
Mommy didn't love me enough. I'm going to the dark room.
All I'm saying,
Well, that's gonna be your kids if you don't start hugging them.
all I'm saying is what a man.
20 years from now, if any of Jim's kids do a darkness retreat, we'll point back to this moment.
It's because I didn't give him enough huggies at night.
Sam, also add this to your list of things to remember that the $5 for the next 3 years, you're gonna have to keep track of that. And that 20 years from now, we need to know if Jim hugs his kids. Or no, we
I
need to
hug
know
my
if
kids,
you-
you rat bastard.
we
Let's
need
keep
to know
going.
if they lock in a dark room. Got it. We have a lot to keep track of after this episode.
I'm gonna need a list.
Well, you got your computer in your lap. Type
I'm
away.
doing other
Put it on the
things.
list. In other 49ers news, they were awarded 7 compensatory picks for next year's draft through the Diversity Hiring Program initiative, which, as we recall, rewards these picks based on hires and coaches that fit into the established classes in the program guidelines, procedures, whatever it is. So it's not just the hiring of coaches, but it's also if they lose coaches to other positions. I think it has to be a vertical move. I don't think it can be a lateral move, if I remember correctly. So I thought that was interesting. They got 7. I don't know if it seemed to be the most anybody's ever received, but again, this is a newer initiative. So interesting to see.
Wait a minute.
Go on.
We had talked about this whole situation. When do those picks happen?
They're all next year, I believe. Now they're not like second and third round picks. They're like later in the draft.
Are they back to back to back to back to back?
They're in different rounds. I think they're in 2 or 3 different rounds at the end of the draft. I do not know. Remember, I did not see like the numbers of the picks now, but they're all like there. But
You want to talk about some chess moves? That's some chess moves, right? I mean, kudos to them for hiring these diversity picks, but that's some mad scientist stuff right there. But like, are they additional? Like, how many draft picks are there? Like 300 draft picks? That was way more than that. Like 600 draft picks?
I don't know. You think, Alex? Do some quick math. 32 teams, 7 rounds.
32 times 7. 30 times 7.
224.
And
That's so I was right.
224, Jim. That's not 600.
I know, but I said 300. I was close. Shut your face.
Right. So that would be not including any compensatory picks.
Right. Those
So
are
we're
just the straight up picks.
Yeah.
So 224.
224 is Mr. Irrelevant. Like that's what they tout is.
Well, then we're
believe.
adding 7. So now Mr. Irrelevant comes at 231.
I think the compensatory picks, I don't know if they factor into the like number. I have no idea. We can look back on this because obviously this could continue to change because these are additional picks that were never there before, right?
This makes the whole thing interesting. Okay.
Jalen Ramsey
Going to the Dolphins.
for tight end Hunter Long and a 2023 third round pick. Is this a steal?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Is Jalen Ramsey going to fit into that system as he's fit other places? Or is he to the point in a quarterback's career where they should be thinking about, is it worth me looking at a safety position instead of corner?
I don't know. I think Jalen Ramsey is way too thick-headed to make that move to safety. But if he can play at the level he's capable of and shutting his damn mouth, then this is a great get for the Dolphins.
I think that coach will make magic happen regardless.
I mean, you put him opposite of Xavier Howard, and you got 2 great DBs.
Yes, you do. So Yeah, I think this is a good move. Again, we'll see if he works in that defense the same way that he's done well with the Rams.
Yeah, and I don't know anything about this Hunter Long dude, but I think a 3rd-round pick is a steal for a guy with the ceiling of Ramsey.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Hunter Long either. I mean, Mike Gesicki, I think, is their number 1 tight end, or at least was.
But
I
they
don't know if
didn't
he's still
really
under
use
contract. Right. No, I agree. I'm just saying Hunter Long has got to be number 2 or 3 on the depth chart then.
Mm-hmm.
So we have some news from Ohio in the NFL Players Association. I don't know who put this in here, but have at it.
I did. The NFL Players Association has warned members that Cincinnati Bengals are looking to alter workers' compensation laws in Ohio. In communications issued Saturday night, the NFL Players Association told players that the Bengals are seeking to introduce legislation that would limit professional athletes who have been under contract for 5 or more years from obtaining permanent/partial disability compensation. So, and you can, I don't want to get into the rigmarole legality of all this because this is a long-winded thing, but essentially, Ohio has some funky laws, and Cincinnati's trying to make them funkier. So essentially, that they don't have to pay players that are hurt long term. And if these laws pass, it would then affect the Browns, the Blue Jackets, and the Cavaliers. And basically, Ohio would not be a place for athletes to play.
Well, it wouldn't matter for the Bengals. They can't stay out of the news for being arrested, so they won't make it 5 years.
Well, it would matter for Joe Burrow, I believe.
Yeah, maybe.
And what in addition to, like, what is the NFL offering with this type of thing? Is that something that they're beefing up on?
Well, you have to carry, I was reading, you have to carry some form of insurance. So whether you follow the state's guidelines and pay into workers' compensation, or you carry your own, you have to pay into it. The state guidelines in Ohio say you have to have X minimum. And Cincinnati's going, we don't want to pay the minimum. We don't want to pay anything for this. They got paid enough.
Okay.
And they're trying to say, like, we're exempt because we pay them so much.
It is very interesting, and
Yeah.
we'll see. Where is this at? Where is this at as far as moving through the legislative process, Jim?
They're introducing it. So it's
being introduced.
just
Okay.
now being introduced. In Ohio, I mean, crazier shit has happened. So this will probably pass.
Crazy shit is what happens in the offseason, and that will wrap up this week's edition of
The offseason.
And brings us right into other interesting news from the sports world. Starting off with
Interesting things in sports.
we'll start off with a football topic. Bud Grant, Minnesota Vikings Hall of Fame coach, passes away at 95.
T's and P's.
This part of the Purple People Eaters.
You said a mouthful.
I believe. I'm assuming if he's the Hall of Fame coach, he was part of that whole situation.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
All right, so T's and P's, as Jim said. Next, in the basketball world, Marcus Smart gets ejected for basically throwing down with Trae Young under the hoop after Young accidentally hit him in the groin with his foot going up for a layup.
I don't know why you couldn't just.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
right
that was fine the way it was written.
I don't know if hitting somebody with your foot would be considered a quote-unquote ball tap.
It was a ball tap. It really was. It was a much overreaction from Marcus Smart. So Trae Young is in front of him, going up for the layup. Marcus Smart fouled him on the way up. You know, he's kind of finishing through. And literally all that happened was, like, Trae Young's foot, like, incidentally swung back. And, like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was harder than it looked, but it looked like literally a tap of the foot. And Marcus Smart just, like, loses his shit, like, goes after him, like, grabs him and just, like, whoosh, and just, like, whips him down on the ground. So obviously it turns into this whole kerfuffle, and Marcus Smart gets ejected. And I was like, that's one way to make me want to watch the NBA. Just tackle people.
The kerfuffle is not what Alex wants out of his NBA.
It was a kerfuffle, let me tell you.
See, if you want this kind of stuff on a daily basis, start watching hockey.
I do. That's my favorite part.
You don't get ejected. 5 for fighting.
You don't. So no, even the announcers were like, and of course, Marcus Smart getting kicked out of the game.
Listen, if you ball tap me,
It was
That's-
completely accident.
nah, I don't care.
Because I watched the video to see if it was a quote unquote accident or if it was truly accidental contact with the ball region. It was truly accidental contact with the ball region.
Don't care.
Remember this, everybody. Even if it's accidental, Jim's coming for you.
Yeah, just stay away from him.
Jim's balls.
Yeah,
Got
stay away.
Noted.
Is that what you do if your daughters accidentally hit you?
Man, all right, shifting gears for a second. I'm gonna get real personal, okay? And I feel like there's a lot of parents out there that can relate to this. Once you have
I know
kids,
it's coming.
once you have kids, they essentially go numb. Okay. You just become it's like a new superpower. I don't know if they medical degenerate can you form calluses? Does the nerve endings just die? But you take so many fucking shots to the balls that it just stops hurting.
And that's why you don't give your kids huggies.
You get a little resentful, Nate. You get a little resentful.
They just no concept. It's just jump on, hop on, pop.
Yeah. How my dog does it now. Just like, get off me, dog.
You dog. Well, remember to clip that one. Put that one up on YouTube. Thank you. Thank you. In news, this would be in the skiing world, correct?
Yes. So this is the ski world.
Have at it, Alex.
Michaela Schifrin broke the record for the most World Cup wins, which is a World Cup of skiing wins, after having a disappointing last Olympic run. She, during that Olympic run, was expected to win a bunch of gold medals. She was mourning the sudden passing of her father in an accident and kind of got in her own head a little bit. I added this because I watched a really cool interview with her on ESPN this weekend, and she talked about how she just realized she needed to make a decision what she was going to do, was she going to be able to pull yourself out of this? Got counseling, got some grief counseling, and bounced back strong, winning her 97th. I believe maybe it was 87. I might have mistyped that.
It's a lot.
Either way, man, woman, she broke it.
Is
good on her.
Is passing Lindsey Vaughn?
Yeah. Passing someone other than Lindsey Vaughn.
Okay. I wasn't sure.
It was an I name that I can't pronounce, and you're better at that than me, so that's why I took it out. But it starts with an I if you're interested. But yeah, no, good on her. It was cool. I felt bad for her during the Olympics just because of the hype and the disappointment. So I like to see her have positive light.
All right. Next, we jump into NASCAR.
This is, I know we talk about athletes like football players jumping on skateboards and shit like that. NASCAR 2020 champion Chase Elliott, hell of a driver, father's legend Bill Elliott, is now out indefinitely after breaking his fibula snowboarding. So he had a race, I want to say it was like Daytona, and then went snowboarding and broke his leg and couldn't race Vegas, and now he can't race for obviously a while. A lot of controversy. The drivers are like, oh, let him live. Of course they're going to say that because they don't have to race against him. But a lot of people are like, what business did he have snowboarding during the season?
His fibula is a non-weight bearing bone, so he's probably kind of being a little wimpy, but
Okay, can you press the gas pedal with it?
A little bit wimpy.
it's gonna hurt. But yeah,
Also, if you wreck a car,
it's gonna hurt.
all right, so you say being wimpy.
I'm just kidding. I don't really know if he's being super wimpy, but it really is a non-weight bearing bone.
Which just so we know, medical degenerate, which bone is this?
That's the little one that goes down next to your tibia. So your tibia is the big shin bone. The fibula is more of a supporting player.
So you say that it should be good to go?
I'm saying that I don't know how long he'd be out for it. It depends, but it'd be painful. I mean, switching. Yeah, I mean, you have to be in full control. It's probably more of a danger to everyone else. It's the same concept why we give people restrictions on driving after surgery, even if you're not taking pain meds, because you can't maneuver the car to the fullest of your ability. So we have to say, don't do it at all. So when they accidentally hurt someone, we can be like, told you not to do it.
Should he have been on a snowboard?
No, I don't think. I think it's the same comment I just made with Tyreek Hill running the that race. I think it's focus, stay in your lane, focus on what you're supposed to be focusing on right now. Even if you wanted to do it right at the end of the season and do it, because then if you're hurt, you have time to recover. But in season, not a great choice.
All right.
That's between him and God. And apparently,
Yeah,
him and God ain't right.
You made that choice. You're losing out on money that you could be making while you're racing. I think it's the same concept as any job. I mean, I don't think he should be getting paid by NASCAR while he's off unless he's doing something special to.
All right.
Does he lose sponsorships for this, you think, Jim?
No, but he did get a waiver. They're gonna give him a waiver, so he'll still earn points if the car earns points. Very weird.
I think that's BS. I didn't think.
I agree with that. I think that's BS.
I mean, he's not racing it.
Right.
Speaking of BS, in this case, Bill Self, the Kansas head coach was discharged from the hospital on Sunday after he received a heart catheterization and had 2 stents implanted in his heart. He plans to coach for the tournament.
Hopefully, I think that's more insane than the snowboarding when you should be race driving. Like,
what? Go on.
What bigger chance for your heart to explode after?
There's less a chance now, isn't there?
Yeah. So okay. So it looks to me this is a very medical based episode. I like it. So it appears that he had a heart attack.
Yeah.
Had a heart cath. Needed 2 stents. Stents are placed. Needs some cardiac rehab. As long as he's taking his medicine as he's supposed to be taking his medicine, I don't see a risk in him coaching.
All right. So when I finally get my heart attack, Alex, I want you to tell me, Jim, get back to work next week.
No, I don't.
You're going to call my wife.
If you
and
want
you're going to say it's okay to go back to work, Joe. Let him roll.
Yeah. I mean, if that's
I'm going to hold you to that shit.
There's a difference. Did you have an open heart surgery or did you have a heart cath? A heart cath, I could go in tomorrow and have a routine heart cath because I have an abnormal stress test, have to have a stent placed, and reasonably go to work the next day.
As long if I have this procedure, you're going to let me go back to work, and you're vouching for me.
Yeah, if you had a massive heart attack, you may personally need time to recover. But if you're feeling better and you're taking the appropriate medications, I don't see a huge problem with it.
I think we all know me. I'm going to go back to work, and I'm going to need you to vouch for me. So get pumped.
I'm going to put limitations on you. I don't think that you need to be doing anything overly excessive, and you're going to need to give your body some time to rest. But I mean, it's the NCAA tournament.
He needs time to rest, Alex.
No, Bill Self can coach. He's fine.
Okay.
So in anticipation for this heart attack, should Jim take more testosterone?
Yes.
I've never heard of anything he should do less than take more testosterone.
This is a callback. Next, moving on to
I feel like we should clarify that by saying taking more testosterone he is not currently taking.
That's probably good.
So we should probably clarify beginning taking.
Thank you.
Yes, Jim is not taking any performance-enhancing supplements at this time,
Right.
that I'm aware of. Jim?
No, I'm good. I'm clean.
Okay, he's clean. Jim would pass the John Bones drug test.
Yes.
In the World Baseball Classic, Team Great Britain has the best/worst generic uniform ever. Nate, explain.
Oh, there are memes everywhere saying, did someone literally just go on Microsoft Word and do bold italic, whatever basic font and put it across their shirt? Because it could not have been more plain Jane or, oh, hey, by the way, we need a bunch of uniforms. How fast can you do them? Oh, I know I can do it. I can print off my printer right now.
So you're saying they weren't Harper and Company designed?
No, this was more like designed by probably somebody at
Sports
nowhere.
Puff.
No, I mean, not even that. No.
What does it mean?
I mean, I feel like this was designed by someone who's just learning Microsoft Word.
Sam, are you with us?
I'm here.
If you had to choose a Microsoft Word font to be on a uniform, but you had to choose a font and it was just only the font that was across the front and it said Great Britain, what font would you choose?
Only Microsoft Word.
Correct.
And I'm showing her what the current one is right now.
Okay. Not that. I'm assuming.
Probably Arial, I guess, because that's like the most common. But I mean, I can think of a lot of better fonts than that.
Georgia.
All right.
But I mean,
Come
Well,
on,
okay.
MD
I will say
condensed.
though,
guys. We're a sports show. We're not a font show. Come on.
We're a fun show though, and
That's
true.
Jim's hurting us.
I
From
mean, at least if you're gonna do something bad, do web things.
Well, like the devil's advocate, would you much rather have like? Do you want them coming out in the Union Jack from Edso?
I think they could have done anything else in the world better than what they're currently.
Like teacups? Like what did you want?
Yeah, they could put a teacup on the each side of Great Britain. I would have been happier with this.
Okay. All right. Good to know.
You bookend Great Britain with tea and tea.
With tea. Yep.
More tea.
if Great would like to contact me, I could make them better.
I mean, there were a couple of people in the stands in that game against the U.S. dressed like the forefathers.
Harper and Company.
Not wrong.
In other news, with the Great Britain team, first baseman Matt Ward played for the Washington Wild Things, giving some of their local tie last year. He had 19 home runs and 11 in the Australian League and just signed a minor league deal with the Philadelphia Phillies organization. Good job, Matt.
Well, they actually even mentioned that during the broadcast, which I thought was pretty sweet.
Which part? Did he play for the Wild Things?
Yeah.
Nice.
And like the whole bit there that I put in the notes was on the broadcast.
Oh, sweet. Team USA is 1-0 after defeating the Brits 6-2. Go USA, playing Mexico late on Sunday before we had a chance to see what the ending would be.
Or if Mexico had tacos by their name.
This is excessive.
You've gone too far, Jim.
Oh, so teacups near Britain. Hey, tacos near Mexico.
I knew this was coming. This was about to be an outburst.
Speaking of other things that are very stereotypical but played out in real life, Team Italy has an espresso machine in their dugout.
No.
We're not offended by that at all.
Well, they actually did
They
it,
brought
Jim.
their own espresso.
No, there's video or photo evidence that this espresso machine is in the team dugout during the games.
This is real life, Jim. This is not. This happened.
I said tacos, and it's too far.
You're right.
If they had chalupas in their dugout, Jim, it would be less concerning. But
And
you
I
just
wish I would
tossed
have
it out
looked this up
there.
before, but I also got to give a special shout out to. I wish I looked up his name, but whoever the leadoff batter is for Team Nicaragua has a fabulous freaking mustache. I mean, it's like the old
That's not
Monopoly
offensive,
man.
right?
No, like the old Monopoly Man guy, and like it like curls up on the end. I mean, I don't know how it stays in place.
So like 70s porn star?
No, I will bring up a picture and share it with the group.
Because I mean, I don't usually think those are great mustaches. So
You don't usually? Are there times when you have?
no,
Pray tell, give us an example.
the Monopoly Man pulls it off, and everyone else I think kind of looks like a child predator of some sort.
Well,
So
that's an
Just
interesting
saying.
way. That's an interesting way for us to end this week's
Yeah, I was going to say.
edition of
somehow back out of this.
other interesting news in sports.
This is Mount Massive.
You're like,
For the love of God, you have one damn job.
I did it. I was pausing for dramatic effect.
Sure. Okay, so this is Mount Massive, the
You're
top,
like, "Yoo." Sorry.
the top non-major sports athlete. That by non-major we mean no baseball, football, basketball, or hockey. We're gonna let Nate go first. Go ahead, buddy.
All right, so my top 5 non-major sports athlete in no particular order are Tiger Woods, Michael Phelps, Shaun White, Serena Williams, and Usain Bolt.
So this is. I need to know what basis you made your list.
So my basis for this list was based on, obviously, most of these, actually all of these, are individual sports. So it was based on how good you were, not as far as that, but like, were you successful in terms of like winning, like or like representing your country in a way? But so to me, those were guys that you couldn't deny that they were the best of what they did in their individual sport.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Alex, go ahead.
My list includes Serena Williams, Tiger Woods, Rusty Wallace, Michael Phelps, and Lionel Messi.
What basis was your list, Alex?
Well, it started out a lot worse because at first I was doing it kind of just to irritate you and see the reaction I could get. And then I went back and fixed it. Serena Williams, obvious. Tiger Woods, to me, obvious. I was kicking around putting like Arnold Palmer or Jack Nicklaus instead of Tiger Woods. Rusty Wallace, because I don't know. I had a Rusty Wallace action figure when I was young and I liked him. Michael Phelps, swimmer, and Lionel Messi was my favorite soccer player. Is my favorite soccer player.
Rusty Wallace.
Mm-hmm.
That was
I don't know. I was just thinking, like, basically what I did was, what other sports are there? I know we're not supposed to repeat any a bunch. I was like, okay, tennis, Serena Williams, golf, Tiger Woods, swimming, Michael Phelps, soccer, Messi, and I was like, NASCAR. I was like, Rusty Wallace.
NASCAR.
I want to go fast.
Yeah.
So, Muff, go ahead.
Okay, my list. Since I wasn't allowed to have all golfers, Jim said. So
I did.
my list only includes one golfer, and that is Tiger Woods.
Mm-hmm.
I also went to the tennis world, and I went with Roger Federer. Stayed in the tennis world on the women's side and repeat Serena Williams, which has been on Alex and Nate's list. I went to the collegiate wrestling world and went with Spencer Lee from Iowa. And I went into horse racing and chose American Pharoah, the most recent Triple Crown winner. So yes,
All right.
horse made my list.
I screwed up my list. So, my list.
Fix it.
I'm not.
My list is Scotty Scheffler. Mine is True Blue. Why are you laughing, Muff?
The behind the scenes on you trying to spell a name is
Hey,
hilarious.
just get off me, okay? So my list is True Blue number ones currently. Okay?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Scotty Scheffler is now the number one golfer in the world.
Okay.
Simone Biles is the number one gymnast in the world.
Is she? That's real talk.
I looked it up.
Sam?
Yeah, I believe he's right.
Okay. I honestly had no idea.
Novak Djokovic is the number one tennis player in the world.
Mhm.
Damn, John. Jeez, I screwed it up again.
I was about to say we're about to run into an issue at some point in
Right.
this list.
I practiced and I screwed it up. Alexander Usyk is the number one heavyweight boxer. And then John Bones Jones is the number one pound for pound UFC fighter. Those are my number ones.
I was curious as you were writing out Novak Djokovic the second time, which you had to retract, if you were thinking of Jokic from the NBA.
No.
Yeah.
No.
You were not.
Yeah, Jim didn't really do himself any favors with easy spelling outside of Simone Biles.
I did not. No.
Her name's also not spelled normal.
Yes, it is.
What's not normal?
I didn't think it was. Never mind. Just ignore me.
It's okay.
Nate normally does it anyway, so.
The only issue I have with my list, and I struggled beyond my usual struggles, the heavyweight is the number one heavyweight pound for pound, right?
Okay.
And he's also what they call on the boxing list the pound for pound, like all around the best boxer, blah blah blah. He's 20-0. Canelo Alvarez has all of the titles, but like all of the lists have him ranked like 3 to 4 as the pound for pound overall. And pound for pound lists are like a joke, like they're very subjective. But like, if I was going to stick to this list and make them all number ones, I had to give this guy the nod.
Right.
And the heavyweight is usually the guy who's like the position that you get the pound for pound nod on. So,
Well, if it's pound for pound, it has to be the heaviest guy. He has the most pounds.
right? Yeah. So,
Canelo Alvarez is like half of his poundage. So
yeah,
He is
so he's
about half his
not as many
poundage.
pounds.
That's not massive. I don't have a topic for next week, so I'll let you guys know midweek when I come up with something.
Sounds good.
Yodelay hee hoo. Would you rather hold somebody so tight it makes you cry?
That was
This is Would You Rather.
Would you rather?
Okay. So this is a good one. We have two boxing legends, one bit the other. On one side, we have Evander Holyfield's gloves, autographed Evander Holyfield boxing gloves, photo documented from 2007 when they were signed. On the other side, we have Mike Tyson autographed black Everlast boxing glove with the Beckett hologram certificate of authenticity, both at $100.
So the Evander Holyfield doesn't have a certificate with it, but there's a picture of him signing it.
There's a picture of the time it was signed.
I question
Okay.
both of the authenticity of these if they're only selling for $100.
I wondered if you would bring that up. Nate or Sam?
I'm gonna go with the autograph picture because I feel like it adds a little extra.
Is it
Okay.
just a picture of like two random people though?
Yeah, it's two random.
He's in
people.
Oh,
on the-
he's there. He's okay.
Is he there?
It's
feel
just
like it
the
has
glare. The glare on the screen. He's wearing a black shirt.
Was Jeffrey Dahmer there too? Is that who that other person
It
is?
does. No, it's the Son of Sam guy.
Okay.
I just want to take pictures.
I'm just gonna take the Mike glove because
Just because?
I'm more interested in the Mike Tyson story than I am the Evander Holyfield story.
I mean, he's the victim. His ear's gone.
Yeah, but
He's
I
not
mean,
making money. They had to go down from $150. No one would buy it at $150. Are we gonna talk about that? There's literally a scratched out price.
okay. Another question. There are two left
Yes,
of the Mike Tyson glove.
that was my next point I was gonna bring up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
did we sell the other ones for $100, or is this like down? What are we doing?
Maybe
Or
he
are
was
they-
at a signing. He signed multiple gloves.
Did he sign them both, the left hand and the right hand?
Why don't we just put them
This
together?
says right hand, and he's selling them separately.
So final decision. Sam says she's taking the one with a picture. Nate, what do you say?
Usually boxing gloves come in pairs, so I'm gonna take the 2-for-1 with the Holyfield gloves.
Muff.
I'm going with Mike Tyson. Only one of Holyfield's gloves look like it's signed, so why do I care about the other one?
That's true. Alex.
I am gonna go with the Mike Tyson as well. I wonder if these were worn in a fight, and maybe they aren't worn in a fight, and that's why they don't cost as
I'm going to
much.
say no.
That's probably why they don't cost as much.
I'm gonna go with Mike because of the quality of the signature. I think it's a good use of the paint pen. All right, we're gonna move on, hopefully. In the most obscure battle of the Sports Illustrated,
Oh wow.
Jimmy Connors and Chris Everett signed Sports Illustrated, or Gary Carter signed framed Sports Illustrated. Two at $60 that are signed, one framed $40. Baseball, tennis. It's a battle here. Seems to be both late 80s, early 80s ish.
I would typically lean towards the tennis in this situation because it's the Expos. I'm going to take Gary Carter.
Okay. Alex?
I was kind of on board with Muff because I was looking at what team, and I saw the Expos, and I care about baseball more. No offense to tennis people.
Yeah. You know who else played for the Expos, Jim?
Who?
Moises Alou.
Oh, I think you've sold me now. Nate?
I like that the one is framed because it's going to preserve the signature, but at the same time, I feel like I would want to go back and look at the other ones to see what Sports Illustrated was like in the day. So give me the ones that aren't framed.
Ooh, Sam.
I know nothing about any of these people, so
That's what makes it better.
I guess the magazines because you can.
Well, they're both magazines.
Well, like the ones that you can actually look through.
Okay. I'm going to go with now the Expos because of our boy Moises. All right, moving on. Obscure shit. Sports gnomes for the Cincinnati Reds at $30. Seems like you get, I don't know if you get them all. The description didn't say. Or Boston sports teams mini nutcrackers.
I don't even know how to pick.
I choose the sports gnomes because I'm going to choose the public meetup option just to see what human being has accrued these and holds on to them. And the Cincinnati Red sports gnome can combine with the other gnomes I have in my collection, the Gary Jerry Larry collection.
Do have a Gary Jerry Larry gnome.
All right. Alex.
I will also be going with the gnomes because I have family that like the Cincinnati Reds, so I could keep one for myself and give them away as gifts.
Okay. Nate.
Give me the Boston ones because at least they're teams that are worth a damn.
Ooh. Sam.
But I don't want to stay in my house.
I love nutcrackers and gnomes, so this is a really hard decision. But I'm gonna go with the nutcrackers because Nate hates both of them, but he thinks nutcrackers are creepier. So I'd like to have those sitting around.
I'm gonna go with the nutcrackers because my boy Muff once got me a nutcracker and I bring him out every Christmas and he would have friends now.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
That's full circle because I helped get Muff a gnome.
True. All right, moving on.
Mm-hmm. Friends. Oh, this is easy.
A basketball lamp. A Jaguars helmet phone. Yes, I know phone lines are an outdated thing, but this is a Jaguars helmet phone. Or the basketball lamp.
Oh,
Please do not ask for my phone number. It's literally in the description.
Please do not ask for this person's phone
if
number.
we're gonna like mine, I like selling NBA lamp. It'd be good for office desk or kids' room. Any offer would be perfect. That guy's hard up for cash because he went from $130 as the original offer down to $40. I'm not sure who he thought was going to pay $130 for this used NBA basketball lamp.
Well, here's the thing, guys. I'm gonna let Sam go first. Sam, go ahead. Sam
Sorry.
Downing.
I was up at 6 o'clock to go to work.
It's okay.
I'm gonna go with the phone because nothing's better than a vintage plugged-in phone, in your house.
Amen. Amen.
If you even have a phone jack, most houses don't have
A lot of
those.
the new cable boxes have them if you have cable.
Yeah.
They do, yeah, but a lot of them are still like wirelessy.
That's true.
Nate.
I'm also taking the phone. I feel like the basketball lamp isn't as unique. And fun fact, I did have a Buccaneers phone in my bedroom growing up.
I had a Mickey Mouse phone in my bedroom growing up, so I think mine might be better, but here we are.
To Muff.
I'm also going to go with the helmet telephone because if I were to have this and I answered the phone, I would immediately go into like draft day mode.
Right.
And I would start asking to like deal picks. Like that's how I would answer the phone.
Yes.
We have a fifth round pick coming up. What would you like to offer me?
Alex.
If I had an office that I sat at regularly and used a phone, I would take the phone. But I think I want basketball lamp.
Okay.
I can make you basketball lamp.
Oh yeah, you can.
So the stickers on the helmet are peelable. You see how they're like French on the sides?
I looked at that too. I'm glad you brought that up because I don't care for a Jaguars helmet.
So with some goo gone and a razor blade, that could be any team's
That could be a Steeler helmet.
Yeah, I'm saying. So like that's a good DIY phone for me. I'm taking the helmet. It could be anything. All right, we're moving on. Oh, go back.
I'm not looking.
All right, so Leroy Butler, Hall of Fame 2022 mini helmet. The mini helmet's a staple here on the show. Or an autographed CJ Stroud and Marvin Harrison Jr. Ohio State picture for $79. I think we know what I'm picking. I'm going.
so glad that you went with Aaron Rodgers' team, Jim.
This is why I brought it up. My team versus, your boy.
See, my boy's not tied to a team though. Like
Not anymore. No, yeah, you're right.
he can be my boy no matter what team he's at.
Yeah.
So the fact that Leroy Butler is in the Hall of Fame leads me
Mhm.
to go in that direction just because there's a proven commodity there.
Right.
And there's certificate authenticity, which we don't have
Free
with CJ
shipping.
Stroud and Marvin Harrison.
Yep. Yep.
Ooh, there's free shipping. There's 2 left as well. Ooh. Yeah, give me Leroy Butler.
Alex.
The known entity.
I am with Muff for a similar reason. We don't know if Marvin Harrison Jr. and CJ Stroud will play out in the NFL. For you, I understand. If this was like a Pat White signed picture, I would be on it too because I cared about them in college. But for me, I'm going to go with the known Hall of Famer.
Okay. Nate.
I third this opinion.
Okay. All right. We'll move on to the finale. One item.
Sorry, what would you have picked?
The mini helmet because I think it's cute.
Okay. Okay. My fault, Sam.
It's okay. I'm always forgotten.
It's all right. I apologize. The grand finale. It's one sale. I want to know what you would do. Would you pick both? Would you pick one? It's the Magic Locker. It's the Cowboys Locker. Cowboys Locker's got some scuffs on it. The Magic Locker looks pristine. Good condition, $25 each, or make an offer.
Is that
What
Mike
would you
Miller? Is that Mike Miller magic?
I think you can scratch that off. I think that's your
Yep.
name because that's what it looks like they did on the Dallas Cowboys. Like someone had their name there.
Yeah.
Like I think you put Muff.
You can
I
put
know
like,
a girl
like a
that
nameplate.
does
She knows a girl who could do it. We could get Sam. We could buy them both.
We could.
You know that can do it.
Can't tell you. It's a secret.
Do you
Sorry.
want to know what I would honestly do?
Tell us.
Scratch all the stickers off the Dallas Cowboys one.
Yep.
And get WVU stickers for it.
Oh,
How big are these?
I'm about 4 foot.
That would look great in my little office I have going on here.
This is like a shoe locker.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What would you do, Muff?
Good conditions, 25 each, or make an offer. I would make an offer for $20 total. Thank you.
For both.
Yes.
See, I was gonna say I'd give $20 for one of them.
Okay. Sam.
I was gonna offer 35 for both. I mean, it says make an offer. They must be open to something.
Right.
But I'd have to renovate them because, they need a little help.
Little TLC.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Nate.
I would pass on both.
Oh, okay.
Loser.
All right. All right. I would probably try to snag them both. I think the 35 is a good deal there that Sam suggested. And I'd probably spray paint them.
Fair.
Probably either black or red.
Well, for the same reason I wanted the Navy one to.
Yeah.
Would it be red, Jim, or would it be scarlet?
Probably just red.
He would have the Ohio State University logo in the middle of it.
There we go.
Suck up.
And I might even make one like a sports stuff with Jim and Muff locker. You know what I mean?
Oh, and then have everyone's little name on it. That's so cute.
Yeah.
Picture of us.
It would just say Jim and Muff plus homies.
Plus homies. Actually, I would make one that, with the name. I would just put homies.
Yeah, so you can
We'll
have
have to
Jim
buy them both. Jim and
and-
Muff and then homies.
Homies.
Homies. Exactly. So that was Would You Rather?
Would you rather?
Smart man.
This brings us to the end of this episode of Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff. Plus those homies. One of those homies is in the screen right now. Sam, did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy it tonight?
It was a great time. I have a lot of work to do with the list keeping.
Lots of things for you to do. Homework.
Lots of
Yeah.
things to get in there. As a reminder, if you have not already, sign up for the men's and women's tournament bracket challenges for March Madness. You can catch Alex and I at your local pub on this potentially Thursday and Friday, hanging
Truth.
out, watching games, having some wangs, drinking some beers.
Yup.
If you join the bracket thingy, just know that I'll probally kick your ass because I'm really good at that.
Well, that escalated quickly.
I like it. I liked that energy
Hey,
that you brought.
I have had a bracket like 4 years in a row that has done fantastic.
How do you
And I
pick? How
have
do you pick?
nothing. Colors and like statisticky things, like where it says like their number things.
Their rank and their
Yeah,
record.
like I can buy that, and then if it's
Statistics, the rank, the number that's written next to
the word
the.
wasn't coming to me.
Statisticy things.
Statisticky thingies.
I
That's
appreciate
how I
your
do it too, Sam.
transparency, Sam. As a reminder, follow Stat Sports Jim Muff on Instagram and Twitter, sportstuffw/Jim, _Sam Muff on Facebook, on YouTube. You can also follow the homies businesses like Harper and Company.
And company.
How can they engage with Harper and Company on social media, Sam?
Harper and Company can be found on Facebook by searching Harper _Company, on Instagram by searching Harper and Co WV, and on Etsy as well with Harper and Co WV.
Shouldn't we be? It's LLC, right?
I am an LLC now, however, that's not in my like handles.
Oh, okay.
But I am a legit West Virginia business.
West by God.
West by God, Virginia.
Which reminds us, you can always support all of the fun things that you and your friends are doing by telling a friend, making a friend, and be
Be a friend.